right, today we're here to talk about appraisals and what you can do, what can the broker do to help, okay, basically. So what does you, the broker, can do in helping the appraisal process, which is part of you eventually getting paid. And it's one of the last steps, so therefore, very important. Vital, actually, to you getting paid. If it doesn't appraise out, you obviously are going to have an issue. All right. Receiving the initial call from the appraiser. This is the first thing that happens. Once you process is going through, make certain that you have listed your name, email address, and cell phone number appropriately on the listing sheet, so the appraiser can contact you with minimal effort on his or her part. Okay. They get a copy of your contract. The appraiser will get a copy of the contract itself, so hopefully your name is on the contract. And as I do, I am an appraiser. For those who don't know, but I'm also an appraiser. We look at, I'll pull up the listing sheet right away, assuming it's listed. If it's listed, I pull up the listing sheet. I also have a copy of the contract as a lender. Generally, 95% of the time, send us over the contract. Okay, so we have access to both of them, those things. When you do receive the call, be very polite and courteous, and try to accommodate the appraiser with a reasonable time frame to meet with the subject property. Okay, so as you know, this is of high importance to the transaction, because if the property, the appraiser is the bank, is the seeing eye dog of the bank. Okay, so if this value doesn't come in, your deal is a little bit messed up. Okay, especially if your financing is less than 20% down. Okay, then everything will just go askew, and you'll have some issues. Okay, so it's very important that the appraisal comes in to value, and that everything just goes as smooth as possibly can happen. Okay, so we want to be there for them, we want to do the right thing, and accommodate whatever the appraiser, within reason. I mean, you've got a schedule as well, so you both have to be able to fit it into your schedules. What to ask the appraiser on the initial call. So this person will call. I have selected some current listings and current comparables for the subject property. May I please share them with you at the inspection? Okay. This is, when you originally did the listing, you obviously should have done this. Okay. You should have shown this to your seller. Okay. Now, things may have changed depending on how long your listing was on the market. This may have changed. Certainly the solds could have changed, and the listings at the time. Okay, a lot of those listings might have become sold, in theory. Okay, so you should do that. This is very good practice to put those things together for the appraiser. You can tell right away if the appraiser is a really good appraiser or is holier than thou by the answer to this question. Okay, when you say, I have selected some current listings and current comparables for the subject, may I please share them with you? If that person says, no, I don't really need that, you probably have a problem with that. Okay, all right. If they say, absolutely, sure, just bring them with. I'll always say yes to that request. I often know that most brokers don't know what they're doing, and they're all going to be awful comparables, and they're not really relevant. But I'm also going to accept it because, hey, maybe there's something there I need to know. We all have the same access to the properties, but never know. Okay? So I always want to see what they've got going. Most appraisers will respond with a resounding sure. If they do not need any help, this is a sign that you may be in trouble with a particular deal. I would bring them anyways to the inspection and offer them again in person. So even if they do say that negative, bring them. If they really go, no, really, I don't need them, you really got a problem. Okay, likely. Because this person is, really going rogue and doing their own thing, and oftentimes truly doesn't know a lot. Choosing the proper comparables. When choosing the comparables to utilize for the appraiser, remember, they are not necessarily the ones you choose when you originally price out the subject property, as we discussed. If enough time has elapsed, you may have to choose new comparable close properties, and certainly new listings. Okay, you want to choose Ideally, an appraiser, when he comes out, they need at least 3. But sometimes they'll need 4 or 5. And they also need 2 listings. Could be pendings as well. Okay, so they really need 5 comps. 3 sold and 2 active, pending, AI, whatever. Okay, that's the minimum that has to be put on an appraisal. Okay, so if you really want to help, that's how you help. Okay? The all-important comparable sold should be within 12 months of the date that the appraiser's out there. Okay? So they have to be within 12 months. It could be within 6. Is that better? Sure. But that doesn't make, I always tell people, the better comp is the one next door that sold 9 months ago than the one 6 blocks away that sold yesterday. Okay? It just is. Okay? That one right next door that's pretty much the same as yours and everything else, you know, as long as it's within a year, it's okay. It should be better. Okay? Within 1 mile of the subject property, you don't want to go over a mile, especially in the city, if you guys do the city stuff. If you're going over a mile, shady. That's a shady, you know, you're reaching for death. Okay? Unless this is something that's completely impossible and really, really tough thing to come out and whatever. Okay? But for the most part, it should be, and then for those of you that know neighborhoods, it has to be within 2 blocks. If you know, now it doesn't hold as much, but north of North Avenue, south of North Avenue, different barriers, you know, east of Ashland, west of Ashland, you know, things like that. There's differences. Okay? And they're real. Okay? Same style as the property. You're doing a ranch is a ranch is a ranch. You're not comparing a ranch to a bungalow. Many people don't even know the difference between them. They're very different. A ranch was built in the 50s, started built in 59. A bungalow, really old ones, still could be 1 story, but it's not a ranch. And a bungalow is not a ranch. And a ranch is not a bungalow. Okay? They're different eras. Same thing with apartment buildings. I was doing one today for a friend of mine. Usually it's one of you guys, one of the brokers, but it wasn't today. I did one for a friend. And there were many 2 flats that were not the 1926, 1911 flats. They were the ones built in the 50s. And you know those. Those are the square, perfect boxes that have more flat roof. Maybe they have a little different. It's different. Are they both 2 flats? Yeah. But they're not the same. Okay? Could they be used as a comparable? Yes. In desperate. Be your last resort. Same thing with a ranch bungalow. Could it be? Yeah. Not the best idea. And then after the same style of the property, similar room count above grade. Okay? So what you want is, it's very important that that be above grade. Once again, let's just go with a simple ranch. When they say in the MLS, 5-bedroom, there are no ranches that are 5-bedroom. Okay? That doesn't exist except in Long Grove and River Woods. You know, it doesn't happen. It's 3 bedrooms. Okay? It's a 3-bedroom ranch with an additional 2 in the basement. Okay? That's what that means. And when you compare apples and apples. You're looking for the 3-bedroom above grade. The additional is fine. That's a finished basement. It's different. It could only be 1 bedroom. 1 bedroom and another in a recreation room is the same. It doesn't matter that there's 2 bedrooms down. It's irrelevant. Okay? Alright, so you're looking for that. There's some more features here. Next slide. Ages should be similar. We got into this when I told you just about flats just now. The 1950s flat versus the 1911, 1920s flat. Same thing with the ranch and the bungalow. Same type of thing. Your ages should be from the same era. It doesn't have to be 1910 to 1910, but things built from 1909 to about 1930, 35 were the same. They look the same. A picture says 1,000 words. A lot of times it does. You look at it, and that's a comp. It looks just like mine. That's what constitutes comparable. Okay? Should be in the same school district. This more relates to suburban versus city, because the city people go everywhere. But if you're in a specific area, instead of talking about the neighborhood, but in the suburbs, school district is everything. Okay, that's how properties sell. You do not go outside of that school district. If you do, you're counting incorrect. Period. End of story. Similar types of construction type. If it's brick, you're looking for brick. Can frames sell the same as brick? Yeah. And that's mainly because of the updates inside. It's got nothing, But construction type is, once again, you still want to compare apples to apples. So you want all the brick ranches versus one frame, vinyl, or whatever, and a brick ranch. Once again, if you absolutely had to, you would use it, but it's not ideal. Okay? It's not your best comparable. And then similar updates. So if yours is completely updated from top to bottom, all the quartz countertops, the stainless steel appliances and hardwood floors all throughout, versus the one that all carpeting, has a 1960s kitchen, that's different. They're different. May look the same on the exterior, both brick ranches, but they're in different phases of what have you done for me lately, okay? And they're going to sell differently, and therefore comp out differently. Once again, as a last resort, can you use that? Yes, but then you're going to make a $30,000 to $40,000 adjustment for the fact that they didn't have what this one has, something like that. Okay. If the subject property is a condominium, all the above criteria is similar, but in addition, look for the unit to be ideally within the same building. Okay, that's what you want, especially if you got 2, 3, 4, 500 units or whatever. You should be able to find that. Okay, within the same complex. Sometimes maybe the buildings are only 100, but 100 units, and there's 3 of them, and 3 of those similar exact buildings, and within the same complex, assuming the same view and things like that. That would be comparable. That still would be comparable with similar amenities. Okay, so that's what you're looking for. Ideally, when you're truly trying to choose the correct comparables for the appraiser, for yourself, or whatever, for your client. The comparable listing should fit all the same criteria as the comparable sold, but can be actual listings. So in other words, comps are the comps. They're still comps, but now you're looking for a couple of listings to go with this. And they can be under contract listings or pending. These listings are also very important to the appraiser because they are required in any appraisal that is being done for loan purposes. So, if you're meeting the appraiser, like I said, you need at least 2. That's become the hardest thing for the appraiser because there isn't a lot of stuff on the market anymore. Although now it seems to be a little bit better. Things are kind of staying. It depends where you're looking these days. Okay, but the hardest thing that I was finding, for a little while when I was doing appraisals a couple years ago, I couldn't get listings. There were no listings. They're going off the market too fast. So even though we have to have 2 listings in access and whatever, they have to be in. Okay, I would actually find myself going out of the neighborhood to get listings. Those were my only comps. Now my comps were fine because I would find sold, but I couldn't find actual listings in the same neighborhood because it didn't exist. You can't make up something that doesn't exist. But you want to find something when you have to. If you're going to go over a mile away or something like that, you want to go to something that's similar, a similar neighborhood, if you will. That would be good. Okay. The number of comparables property supply to appraiser. We talked a little bit about it. An appraiser doing the appraiser for your now under contract listing requires a minimum of 3 comps, comparable sold properties, and a minimum of 2 comparable active properties to complete the appraisal for the loan purposes. It's a good idea to supply more of each, if available, to ensure that the appraiser gets a complete understanding of the marketplace you're trying to show that your listing is in. 5 sold comparable properties and 3 active, comparable properties would be ideal to supply the appraiser if possible. Okay? I don't think you want to give them 8, 10, 12, although I've seen appraisals that have that many in there, and that's perfectly fine. If I'm you, the one I just did today for a friend that I'm talking about, that was I pulled up, just so you get an idea of how an appraiser should work, how I work, that I will pull up everything that's relevant. My first thing is I pull up everything that's potentially relevant. So I pulled up for her, this was only about an hour or 2 ago, I probably pulled up 8 or 9 that were sold, just on my initial quick search, that I know in my head, just so I sorry, but I killed some trees, but I used both sides of paper, so I printed out about 8 or 9 of those, and then I did actives as well, and I pulled up, I think, 3 of those, because there's always a little bit lesser amount of those. So I did that, and then I sifted through, and I narrowed it down to 4. 4 what I really felt were relevant comparables, solds, and then I narrowed it down to, I think I had 3 listings, and that's what I sent her. Okay, so my initial outlook looked like about 8, and then I sifted through, and not the greatest, that's okay, not so good, but that's how we kind of work. And if you can give the appraiser that kind of, the best of, if you will, greatest hits, that's what you want to give, okay? But don't, what I often find as, like I said, I happen to be an appraiser and a broker, is that the brokers oftentimes will give me extremely irrelevant data. Range your dollar amount of comparable properties. To give you an idea what a perfect appraisal is. A perfect appraisal consists of 1 lower, 1 higher, and 1 right out. Okay, that's what the lender considers a perfect appraisal. Okay, so if the number is 250, they love to see one of the solds. Sold at 240, one at 250, one 262. That's the perfect appraisal. And then we adjust back and forth to get, in theory, 3 that adjust out of 250. That's the way it works. That would be a perfect appraisal. But that's what they're looking for on an appraisal. So if you, keeping that in mind, that's what you would want to supply as well. If there are more than 3 properties that support the market value of the subject property, they should also be utilized and indicated in your appraisal. In addition, do not fear giving out a lower than the sale price comparable property appraisal. That's what I often find is the biggest fallacy in what brokers supply to me. They only give, you really mean to tell me that there's not one property in this neighborhood that sold below 250? Please. I mean, come on. Let's be real here. Give it the truth. Just because it sold for $245 doesn't mean that the subject property isn't worth $250. Maybe that one lacked the fireplace. That one lacked whatever. Perfectly, that's fine. It's okay. Don't be afraid to give that lower one, unless it's exactly the same as yours. Like I'll direct you, if you guys ask me, I'll tell you exactly what you should provide in this package. Don't give this one, because that one doesn't work. Because that one looks exactly like yours, smells exactly like yours, is exactly like yours, and it's all 10 grand lower. Don't give that. Not that they won't see it, but remember, you as the broker are trying to support your value, not hurt your value. So you want to give them for the comps that are going to make it happen. Okay? It's a game like anything else. I mean, I could, as an appraiser, I can make anything work as long as it's there, and I can make you believe it because I know how. Okay? The appraisal, the one I was talking about a few minutes ago, she actually gave me an old appraisal. She didn't like the value, that's why she gave it to me. She said, Rick, what do you think? I said, well, I can see this number, and the guy came certainly to the lower end of the spectrum, and that's what I told him. I said, I would have probably come in somewhere to this number. And that was his opinion. Okay? That's what appraisal is. So that's why you want to give the comps that support. There's choices here, and there's a range. Okay? So, just show them why, to the best of your ability, why this is to the higher end of that spectrum, or whatever the sale price is, that you're trying to support, and, kind of go from there. This is what you're trying to do, and try to show them realistically. Now, it's, you can't make up stuff. It is what it is, okay? In addition, like I said, don't fear giving out the lower. If you actually need this for the appraisal, and they'll look at you, the broker is more credible if you do. Like I said, if you give them a lower one, now you look good. You start giving me, I love the ones, the value is 250, every comp I get is 275. Then why didn't the property sell for 275? Wouldn't that be the normal question? And the first thing I'm saying to myself, you're the worst broker ever. Right? You undersold it by 25 grand. Every comp you just gave me says 275. What's the matter with you? I'm just being facetious here, but that's true. So why would you give me that stuff? That makes you look bad. Think about it. Okay? It makes you look like a bad broker. The listing comparable properties, on the other hand, should ideally be higher in price than the actual sale price of the subject property. You get that, right? Because if the listings are lower, that's not good. Okay, I've seen that, and that's not a good sign. It just means the market's going down. That means that the lender doesn't want to do the loan. Okay, I got news. So that might not be easy, but I'm just giving you the reality of the situation. This will indicate that the subject property is truly worth the value that it's currently selling for. In other words, the list price should ideally be a small percentage higher than the actual sale price of the subject property. Properties sell what? Between 95 and 98% of list, whatever it is. Okay, so areas it's 98, 99%, but it should always get a little bit higher, typically. Okay, so that's the kind of listings that you're trying to look for. We understand that in the real world that all of these perfect comparables do not always exist. But this is ideally what you're trying to find and deliver to the appraiser upon the arrival for the appraisal. Okay, so that's what you're looking for in a perfect world. Okay, oftentimes in condo land, okay, in high-rise buildings that have multiple, let's say, one-bedroom units, this world exists. In Schomburg world, an entire complex of where there's 320 units, this works out so perfect most of the time. It's like a beautiful thing. I'll make a $2,500 adjustment for this, a $2,000 for this, and they all come all the exact perfect number because, and that's a beautiful thing for an appraisal. Doesn't always work, but once again, it can, and that's what you're ideally looking for, but it's not in the list. Other items to get to the appraisal. Every appraisal also requires a floor plan. Okay, as an appraiser, we have to supply a floor plan to the lender. Okay, I've always suggested that when you do your listing, especially if it's over 250, that's just an arbitrary number that I've picked. If you have one that's part of the listing package, you should supply it. So get that as part of a lot of the packages now that come with the photos. They're doing the sketch as well. They're making a nice sketch. That is awesome because that's something the appraiser needs and will do, and I have to do it on the site. Every appraisal also requires a legal description, even a condo. Okay, so a lot of people say, "Oh, condo doesn't have legal." Yes, it does. Okay, they just don't know where it is. But the bottom line is there is a legal description. Okay, plan a survey, especially if it's a single family, exists. As a listing agent, it is something that you should have received from the seller the first day. I ask for it, and I see it, because at some point you're going to have to order a new one anyway, okay, because you need it for the loans, and there's going to be a loan involved. And it's oftentimes cheaper if you have it, if you order from the same guy that you did before. You can save about $50. So it's a good idea to have it available. Every appraisal desires a survey. If you have it from the owner, if you have this document, the appraiser will love you for it, and maybe for a single family. Okay, so it's just an element that puts the correct dimensions on everything. So when I make it, let's use the perfect rectangular ranch, and I have a measuring tool, and we measure from the exterior. But if I have the legal and the plan of survey, it'll say 50 by 22. I already know. There you go. Done. Okay. 1,100 some square feet. There you go. 1040 square feet, I should say. Sorry, bad math. Okay. All of the items should be clear copies of each of the listings, comparable sales, floor plan, legal description, and plan survey. Okay, all of these should be when you're giving them to the other, to the appraiser, whether he wants them in an email or when he's there. I'd like to make a copy of it and hand it to him. If you have the time and experience, you can put adjustments on the comparable properties to indicate the pluses and minuses. I have seen brokers do this, and indicate the adjusted market value of these properties as compared to the subject. So in other words, when I do something, I do like a fireplace. If the subject does not have a fireplace and the comparable does, I knock off negative 3,500 for the fireplace. So I knock off negative 35, that gets it down to the number. If it's got an updated kitchen versus the subject does not, once again, another negative. If we've got an updated bathroom and they do not, that's a plus. Okay, so you can go back and forth and put pluses and minuses, in theory, you're hoping to come up kind of near the sale price or above. You come below, you come below. Probably don't use it. Okay, that's how you kind of do it. So if you feel that you have experience and you can do something like that, that's good. That's so good. That's a good thing. Okay, can't hurt your cause. What to say to the appraiser at the appointment? Simply give the appraiser your packet of goodies that you put together, and let the appraiser walk the property on their own. They don't need you to tag along. I don't need people. I mean, I can walk in a house, especially any experienced appraiser. I don't need to know. Have doors open. There are sometimes there are little half baths that are. Remember, we have a listing sheet. So if I'm missing a half bath as a good appraiser, I just say, "Whoa, where is it?" It looks like a little closet on the side. It is it, but it's there. Okay. Hence the rule: have them open. Okay, have things open. Don't make somebody guess. But I generally, personally, don't need you walking with me, this room, this. No, I'm not the prospective client going to buy this house. Okay. In theory, they've done this before. The appraiser's been there before, done stuff before, so we know where to go and what to do, okay, and how to look for what we're looking for. I don't need someone on my back, bring them on my back, just like feel like I have to hurry up. Okay. I love when I go vacant, when they're vacant, and I just get in because I can just take my time and do whatever I need to do. And I always feel like I'm imposing on their time no matter what, even though they don't give me that feeling. I just feel like I need to get out of there. I certainly take my time as an appraiser because I need to do what I need to do. But sometimes you can just feel it from the other side. Okay, tick tock, whatever. That's why I prefer the vacant ones. So don't do that. Yes, as a broker, let them just do their thing. Hey, if it takes an hour, it shouldn't, but if it does, because it's a monster house, so be it. Let them do their thing. Okay. If there are some significant features, though, on the other hand, that are not mentioned in the listing, or you believe simply need to be emphasized, indicate these features to the appraiser at this juncture. That's the thing. Hey, the house has central back. The house has, an alarm system. The house has, and maybe some of these things weren't mentioned in the listing. Okay, anything in the listing I should pick up on, but I'm also going to want to verify, whatever. If there are things that you think need pointing out, obviously if there's a pool in the back here, pool, you can see that, when you say, hey, there's also the pool house out there, and it's got a shower. I probably didn't know that because it may not have said that on the listing. Okay, so something like that. I wanted to say, those are the kind of things that are helpful to the appraiser. Okay. Please ask the appraiser to address any questions that they may have to you at this time. Say, hey, do you have any questions for me? Okay? Because you're the one, supposedly, with the knowledge of this house. You should know everything about the house. Okay? So, let them fire away. Hey, is the appraiser having just answer the question? If not, when the appraiser is finished with the inspection, make sure that they have your contact information, just in case anything comes up that you can help them with. Make that clear. I don't want to say, hey, when the thing doesn't come in value, can you please call me? That's not something you would want to say. But, what you do say is, if there's anything I can do to help. Now, I'll tell you from an appraiser perspective, if I'm ever going to blow a deal down, so meaning, let's say it's sold for $250 and I'm coming in at $245 and I can't get here to save my life. Okay? The first call I make is to the broker. Help me, help you. I already know that it ain't going to happen because I do my research. Maybe there's something. Maybe I'm missing something. But I do want to give you that opportunity. That's what a good appraiser would do. Help me. What am I missing? Well, this and that. Maybe it was. Maybe it is. Something. Somehow didn't hit MLS. Sold down the block. Look up this one. And it sold by owner. Whatever. Sometimes you can look it up, Zillow, whatever, and it actually, you can find some information on it. It's hard to use, although if you can verify the sale as an actual sale, then it happened. And it's like your house. That's extremely helpful. Now, why didn't the appraiser, did the broker tell you that when you were there? another thing. You know, but once again, that should have been in that package. That's something you should have said. You know, that's a good thing to say. Hey, there was this sale, did not appear in the MLS, but literally sold a month ago and verified, you know, and do your due diligence as a broker, you know, if in fact it's perfect. Right. You guys have it. Okay.
After the appraisal.
Yeah, we'll go there. Yeah. After the appraisal point, make sure that you contact the lending institution loan officer 7 days from the inspection date to ensure that your sale price actually came in as the appraised market value of the property that you're trying to close on. You should have already got a communication with the lender. Okay, that should have been established as the agent a long time ago. A lot of lending institutions are already on board with all this stuff. They're emailing you and saying, "Hey, appraiser's coming out today. You know, appraiser just came in. The appraiser came in today. It came to value." You know, you might get an email with that. If not, keep up with it. Don't just let it slide. You should be on it. There's no reason why you know, 7 days is a sufficient amount of time. If you call and they say the appraisal's not done yet, you know what's going on. Okay, but at least you're honest. You should be able to report to your seller what's going on, and you know, hey, are we getting ready to close? What's happening? Appraisal's not done yet. This is crucial. Do not let time elapse without checking in the appraised value of the property. The last issue on whether or not your property closes typically is the appraisal value. So it's ultra important to ensure that everything is okay with the market value, because the rest of the underwriting is post that value. I mean, the rest is just dotting I's and crossing T's. You know, they're making sure that the buyer has the money, that this, that, and all the different things like that. The biggest issue that they're typically looking for is it worth it? That's the big thing, which is what this class is all about, how you can help. Now, if the appraisal value doesn't match the sale price, if the appraised market bid comes in over the sale price, all is good. Okay, no issues here. That's a fine thing. Okay, but if the market bid comes in lower than the sale price, all is not good for your deal. It is not likely that the loan to value will be affected, and it's now an underwriting issue. Okay, so page here, deal with this. All right, if the appraised value is lower than the sale price, the probable first phone call should be to the client and let them know the issue. Okay, so now you just found out. 250 was the number, came in at 245. The loan to value was supposed to be, 15, 85, and now it's all skewed. It's all messed up. 3 options exist here. Utilize the appraised value as the new sale price and proceed to closing. Okay, so you literally will lower the sale price. Okay, because value came in at 245, like in VA and FHA. That's generally what happens. There are no alternatives. Okay, it's their number or the highway. Okay, so you come into the number, you have to acquiesce as the seller, or you don't. Okay, but if you want the deal to go, you will. Okay, now if it's conventional, that's not the case. These are the options. Negotiate from the difference of the appraised value to the sale price and try to come to a resolve in this matter, oftentimes splitting the difference. Okay, say, hey, here's the appraisal, came in at 245, our sale price is 250. What do you want to do here? Now remember, what happens is the buyer has to come up with the difference here. That's what happens. So if it's a $5,000 difference, the buyer has to come to the table and answer $5,000. Okay, so if you split it and say, okay, I'll sell it for $247,500, buyer has to come to the table with an extra $2,500, which may or may not be good. Depends on you. Certainly, it's not good. But or they're coming down to 245, and that's just the way it is. I mean, now that their numbers work and everything works, so it becomes another negotiation. Is what happens. Almost like when you did the inspection, that became somewhat of a negotiation at that point. Unfortunately, now here's another one that you didn't foresee. Just hope that always works out. The appraisal works out. Third option, fight the appraisal value, okay? With additional data supplied by the brokers involved in the deal. I can help you with this, okay? So, have this, okay, and now you're actually fighting the appraisal, okay? Indicating he is wrong, he or she is wrong, okay? And here's why. Okay, so once again, if it was a good appraiser, this should have already been kind of taken care of because you would have made that call. The appraiser would have called and said, hey, I'm $5,000 short, help me. Most of the time, if I'm making that call, they can't help. Okay. They'll say stuff for a bit, they usually, I got nothing. Because I've done my research already. There is no way to get that. Okay? And if they try to tell me stuff, I'll say, well, yeah, but that's not this. You're right. Whatever. So that may not work, but I'll look at some of these appraisals. That's why I say, let me help you. And sometimes I say they're wrong, or they're not good. It's not a great value. So maybe we can fight it. There is a definite way to fight the appraisal. Not simple, but it can be done. Okay? Overview of this session. Always be with the appraiser as the listing agents. You should always be there. Bring at least 3, preferably 5 comparable sale properties to the appraisal inspection. Bring at least 2, preferably 3 listing properties to the appraisal inspection. Bring a copy of the floor plan of the subject property if you have one. Bring a copy of the legal description of the subject property if you have one. Bring a copy of the plat survey of the subject property if you have one. Mark up the comparable sheets with adjustments if you have the expertise to do so. Allow the appraiser to run the subject property unencumbered by you tagging along. Point out any issues that you feel need to be addressed concerning the subject property or the comparables very succinctly. Just don't overdo the facts. Just do what you're supposed to do and get it done. Indicate to the appraiser a manner in which to contact you if there are any issues that should arise after the appraisal inspection. And then contact the lending institution, loan officers, /loan officer 7 days after the inspection to determine if the appraised value came out at least to the sale price of the subject. That is.